everyone, welcome to our podcast, Genuine. This is our first episode and third recording, but let's start.
I'm Prakriti.
And I'm Navya.
So I'll just start out with why we're doing this podcast. This past week, me and Navya have been having like FaceTime calls, which last around like 1 to 3 hours, and they usually extend into like night. And we start with doubts that we have about school or just randomly chatting, and we end up ranting about stuff that's going around with us, like friends, family, or just like society in general, something that we saw on the internet, and then it usually goes on about, and then we usually get furious about it and end up having like really sane and like often academic or just like very personal conversations. And at the end of most calls, I just go like, you know what, we should have recorded this. This could have been such a brilliant podcast. And Navya just suggested, she was just like, you know what, let's actually do this. And so we just started to just randomly start this podcast. Why the name? So our podcast, as you can see, is called Genuine. And the thing is that we don't talk about these things. We don't decide before the call that, okay, I want to talk about this. The thing is, we always start off with a different topic in mind and end up going just deviating towards topics that we're really passionate about, such as like different sort of things that, maybe we don't talk about them in school, maybe we don't like take parts in debates or like all the events that take place, or we're not even that vocal about them on social media. It's just some events that happen and then just trigger discussions. And
And I
um,
think that's why the name, as it says, it's being genuine and like it's genuine because these are genuine things that we face in our regular life and like our day-to-day life, which we thought really do make sense if we look at the bigger picture. And that's why we thought that this might actually be a really cool idea. Here are some of the things that we're going to talk about throughout our podcast and just in general. So to begin with, firstly, we're going to tackle some topics that we think are important to us and what we really care about, some things we see around us, what we experience, and just um, our daily life. Another thing was like Gen Z, as like being children, we felt like we feel about certain things very strongly, but we're not heard or like not taken very seriously. And that's something that we thought we'll like talk about and kind of tackle this issue. Plus, again, as Prakriti already mentioned, just things that happen with us in our daily life, our friends, our families. Um, it's not to criticize anyone, not the society, not our friends, not our families. It's just about talking about these things and like making certain ideas more generic and like acceptable for the society. And another thing, moving to this was change, that how things change over time. We change, culture changes, society changes, everything does. And so, I mean, people also need to change with time. And then again, culture, like our voices, our generation's voices, Gen Z voice, as I'll put it, and even environmental issues that we feel really passionate about and we feel need something, you know, need our attention, or we need to do something about certain issues and problems and just in our regular life. Because I mean, we know how the situation is around the world. There are so many environmental issues all around the world in so many different countries, and we just thought there are so many small things that we can do. So yeah.
Also, I just want to point out that while these all these might sound cliche, the thing is like we genuinely like we don't just usually talk about, oh, climate change is such a big deal, but it's just small incidents that we like suddenly felt furious about and realized that we were in fact passionate. And we promise that it's not going to be just lecturing on what stuff that can be done, just talking about how society is and its behavior. um, After that, what we thought we can tell you about, so we went through a document which said what all you should start your podcast with. And it said that we should mention podcast timings, lengths, how it's going to be, who all are we going to invite, and our future plans. The thing is, we don't know any of that yet because we're just going to do whatever comes naturally. As we said, even the topics that we decide to do will just be whatever we feel strongly about that day, whatever we want to have a conversation about. There's no such particular list that we're definitely going to go through one by one. Podcast timings, we This will definitely not be like a regular consistent podcast. It will have random occasions whenever we feel like something happened and we want to talk about it. And obviously the tone it will not be that aggressive every single day, but there is gonna be like again the most cliched version, like a roller coaster of emotions or something. So it's like we're gonna have all sorts of discussions, and we just do whatever comes naturally.
We're just gonna talk about things that we're facing. If we went through something today, we might just come on and like talk about it and put it here. And it's just one thing. No one should take it personally, even if you feel targeted. It's just normal things that we're going through. It's just our life. If you don't agree with our opinions, I mean, everyone has a different
Yeah.
opinion, and we're just trying to put ours in front of everyone, like in front of the society, in front of people. It doesn't mean that everyone needs to agree with us. It's just that we're putting forward our opinions, our perceptions about things, society, the world. And it's sometimes even we have arguments about our opinions, like sometimes even our perceptions about things don't match. But again, this is just to share what we're feeling, what we're going through. It's not to put something out there for everyone to follow. Everyone has different opinions, and I just wanted to put it out there that even if you feel targeted, please don't take it personally, because we're not trying to target anyone, anything, any society. I mean, any particular.
We are trying to target society as a
I mean,
whole,
yeah, but like
but we're not
not to
trying to
particular.
target anyone personally.
Exactly, like as she
Right. Never, do you want to talk a little bit about like who you are? Because I feel like why should people like listen to us and not just go on a random
I feel like
like
it's not
listen to
only
some
me,
other
like for
podcast?
us as students and like as today's generation, and how we get this dialogue so many times, aajkal ki generation, children nowadays, I feel like it's important for us to talk about things that we feel, because we don't say stuff enough. We don't express ourselves enough. We don't talk about things that we are going through, feeling, or think of like enough. Maybe we've talked about things in our families and just sometimes about our friends, but then it's important to put our opinions, and I think that's what this is all about. And for me personally, I feel like, again, the main trigger point that I have, and like that kind of expresses me, is like everyone I see around me, if there's something that anyone does, or if I see someone doing and if I think that's not right, I just want to say something about it or do
Call
something
them
about
out.
it. Which exactly, and I mean, it's not always possible. If you see someone and you think what they're doing is not right, you need to go and tell them, but then obviously we don't do that. And I mean, that's like the one trigger I have. And me as a person, I would say, if I'm passionate about something, I mean, I don't think I'm very, you know I don't like to keep things in my mind. I like to say it to people's face. And even though I might not always, but then I like to do that. And there are so many things that goes around, and I would like to make a change, which is why I feel like this is a
That's great.
really good. And what about you, Prakriti?
Um, so yeah, I'm Prakriti. As Navya said, like we're both 15, we're about to be 16, and there are a lot of things that we feel strongly about. And if there are any adults listening to this, they might just be like, "Oh, you're just 15, 16," and like
Exactly.
the thing is we all know that um, we
It
all
does.
have important opinions and they do matter, and we experience that in classrooms, we experience that within ourselves, but we feel like it's just we need a proper platform. Like we do have social media, but like to what extent does it actually like reach out to adults? And we just wanted to like talk about that and express that. Why do you think we should listen to us? I think just the idea that we're not doing this for the sake of, we're not having these conversations for the sake of having these conversations. We genuinely want to have these conversations. And if we could, we would have like loved to have the recordings of our phone calls, but we do not. If Yeah, so we're just trying to like recreate some of those 3 hour 4 hour conversations that we've had and trying to just bring that to light here, which is why it might be a good idea.
That's exactly what we're trying to do. And that's basically it. I mean, that's what we're going to do. That's what
Yeah.
we think. That's what this is what we are. And we're just trying to represent ourselves, raise a voice. And this is all genuine is about. And
Yeah.
you like to say something?
No, not really. How do you feel that we're like actually launching our first podcast? I didn't think this would actually happen because we've thought about so many projects in the past and we have not gone through with any of them. But like genuinely every second day we just go like, oh my god, you know what's a bomb idea? This, and then we just don't end up doing it. And we might actually follow through on this one. So what do you think?
I mean, I'm really excited about it. I feel like this is something that it's very normal, right? Like these conversations we've had, they're just so normal, so everyday kind of like casual conversations. And I feel like it feels so good to actually put it out there and share our opinions and how we as a generation feel about things around us. And I mean, I'm really excited about it, and I'm just hoping
Yeah.
we get something out of it. Like we're able to bring some change, or at least same, or you know, like bring ourselves, like put our ideas in everyone's thoughts or something.
Exactly. You know what I'm looking forward to particularly? Like, I think, like, you know, when we have conversations, it's like, so for example, okay, let's take like gender equality or like climate change, right? The thing is, it's not that we've never talked about climate change. We have talked about climate change hundreds of times. We've
That's
seen it as talk about it. We've seen it in YouTube videos. We've seen it, like, we've seen our
the
classmates. We've seen
conversation.
people do stuff in assemblies. The thing is, I somehow our conversations are still distinct, and I'm just looking forward to like hearing people say that yes, they have thought the same thing,
Exactly. And
that
I'm
it just like
not
get some confirmation that like there are other people who think just like us.
exactly. And it's not only about like broader topics and like, putting very factual stuff out there. It's about daily life. It's about very
Exactly.
casual things that happen. It's like it's more relatable, I feel like. And it's something that, I I think most of the topics that we're gonna cover on, I have no idea what we're gonna do. I mean, we don't have anything as such in mind. Obviously, we've thought about certain things, but then we don't have a specific plan, as Prakriti mentioned at the beginning. And therefore that's what's like more exciting, that we don't know what's coming. We're just going to go ahead with it, and we're just going to see what are the things that that happen. And it's also about how we go about it. And I think it's going to be really good when we come back and listen to these. We're going to understand how we were as people, and like how society was, and like how things change if this goes on.
Which hopefully they will.
Exactly. And if this goes on like 5 years from now, and if we come back and listen to what our opinions and things were today, and I'm pretty sure they will change like
Yeah,
within
yeah,
five
yeah.
years, but then it's going to be so nostalgic or like informative to come back to these. And
Exactly. I think we can end our first episode with that. And also, I just want to give a disclaimer that we do not have the most podcast suited voices, and they may be
exactly.
a little bit annoying to hear at times, but we're going to work through that because we feel like while we may not have the voice, we have the thoughts, and we genuinely feel like you will enjoy hearing all of this. So,
Yep,
so stay
exactly.
tuned. And that's it for the first episode. Thank you.
See you guys next time.